second. Allow me to
Secularism is part of good governance.
No, 1 second. It was a choice.
Without 25 years.
Now,
that is why it is coming.
Secularism is part of good governance.
No, 1 second. I always yield to wisdom and experience, and this time I will. But when wisdom and experience comes in all directions, then I take a back seat. So I request you. I just want to say one thing. We decided to give people a choice. So it was not as if the person who says secularism is important doesn't think good governance is important, or vice versa.
No, the both question is also asked. The both question is also asked.
Both, and there's a conflict.
And 8% say both, but overwhelmingly, when it comes to a choice between secularism and good governance, people are opting for good governance.
So the question I have for the panel is this. Answer number 1, who is most popular? Modi. Are you satisfied with UPA government? Resoundingly no. If elections are held now, Prime Ministerial candidate is most important. What is more important? Good governance. The answer to all the 4 questions seems to be a classic leaf out of Modi's script book. Then why are these results being written?
Can I just say something on the last number? Just a minute. Let me say something on the last number. Arnab, this last number here, if I can just clearly look at these numbers of 53 and 35%.
Yeah.
This is where the Modi conundrum comes in. See, the good governance voter still gets divided. The 35% voter will go against Modi. This is where the problem for the BJP.
Think so? You think so? Manisha.
There is another interpretation to the last mile statement that Arnab made. If good governance is overwhelmingly, and the last 3 questions, very few people are saying can't say, then this is a decisive election where the people will fight on one side, and the Congress will have a new last mile with the people who take in the grains being thrown in for free, and the local contractors of various kinds will be the Congress's
Question 5. Do you think...
So that model, if it is defeated, then it's clearly a post-Congress
Question 5. Do you think projecting Rahul Gandhi as Prime Ministerial candidate will help the Congress party? Now, we put this question because we felt, it's the same question that you ask in the case of Mr. Modi. And 51% said no. 46% felt projecting Rahul Gandhi will help the Congress. 51% said no. So the Congress party has been reluctant to project Rahul Gandhi as its prime ministerial face. Now, one possible way to look at this is that the figure is that the 51% feel that the Congress is in trouble despite Rahul Gandhi, and hence the Congress would want to protect Rahul Gandhi from that result by not actively pitching him. So the result is very different from the answer to the question that came on Modi. Very interesting result.
45 is unbelievably large.
45 is close enough to 51, Arnab.
Yeah.
It's not so far.
Now I come to a critical question. We asked this question, do you think BJP's prospects improve if they name Modi as the prime ministerial candidate before the elections?
No.
Overwhelming mandate says that Modi's projection will help the BJP. Should the BJP just go for the juggernaut? Should the BJP, and the question is therefore, should the BJP go for the juggernaut and bite the bullet on Modi? Is Modi the BJP's best shot for 2014? Can the senior leaders of the BJP reconcile themselves with this? Reconcile themselves with it, because it's a Hobson's choice this evening for the BJP. The answer is this, and here's the national picture. Jay Panda of the BJD, welcome. Pawan Verma, welcome. Smriti Irani of the BJP, welcome. Derek O'Brien, great to see you, Derek, after a long time, and Rita Bahuguna Joshi of the Congress Party. It's a very interesting result. The BJP is not doing so very well. The Congress Party is more or less devastated. Devastated is the only word I can put for them. And it's the day of the regional party. Regional parties are glowing. 250 seats only for the Congress and the BJP. The BJP has to make a few tough choices. Smriti Irani, your reading of this result first. Smriti Irani, your reading of this result and what it means for the BJP.
Well, Arnab, since we are quite far from the general elections, and I would only base my answers on the basis of the actual result when it comes out. As a political activist, let me first thank C. Voter and your team who did such a broad number crunching to bring these figures to our notice. But I would say that from these numbers, one can understand where our strengths lie. I will also, I think as a Karyakarta, like to work upon the challenges that your numbers throw up. But I think ultimately, since we are too far off yet from the day that significant vote is cast by the Indian voter in the Lok Sabha elections, I will use that time as a Karyakarta to ensure that my party is strengthened and our voter base increases.
Okay, Rita Bahuguna Joshi, the biggest loser is the UPA. Would you like to say that at this stage, this is not a UPA defeat, it's a Congress party defeat? More a Congress party defeat than a UPA defeat?
Well, let me say that this debate and this opinion poll which you have put forth has started a bit too early, because we have to yet go 10 months for the elections, and in between there is another mini election in several states, and I think that is the time when the real picture will emerge. Now, every time the elections come, 2004, it was said that India was shining and the BJP was coming back into power. Not even 2% of the opinion polls were giving us any chance of forming a government or even crossing the line of 150. Yet we formed the government, and now it's going to be 10 years for a UP government in the country. So I feel, I'm not at all disheartened. I know that there are several factors that are going to play into the elections. One thing which is very heartening from your survey right now is that Modi ji is not the only factor or the major factor that is going to determine the results of the elections. You see, we are a very huge country.
Are you happy about Modi? Have you got nothing to say about the fact that the BJP and Congress party is down to the worst performance
there are
in
regional
1999?
issues.
You have nothing to say on that?
You know,
what is clear to me is that the Congress party is in no position to dictate the proceedings as it was able to do 5 years ago. Would you like to talk about that? And what has led to it? Would you like to talk about the possibility of corruption, poor governance or policy paralysis? Which of these reasons or all of the above are the reason for the UPA's decimation? And what is your counter strategy? What is your counter strategy to come back? The BJP is saying tonight that we have to work. What is your counter strategy to come back, especially in your state where you're down to 5?
Give me 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. First of all, there is no policy paralysis. The amount of financial crisis that the world and India has faced, twice we have faced huge financial crisis in the past 4 years. There's been huge depression, economic depression, which you also know and understand. And despite that, the way the government has functioned, the way we have tried to save the common man, the way laws have been promulgated, acts have been brought in, their social rights have been determined and they've been converted into laws. I think the government has done the best it could have done in the first circumstances. But as far as the voter is concerned,
my third question is to Derek O'Brien. Derek O'Brien, everyone's very bullish, isn't it? Mamta Banerjee is extremely bullish about a federal front. She's been more bullish than anyone else. Does this result which we are showing, and in this result we see there are 3 or 4 significant parties, Mamta, Mulayam, Jayalalitha, Mayawati. These are 4 important regional parties. Can you work together? Can you work together to form a government? Or is this going to be a coalition of inherent contradictions? Derek.
Or no, I'm certainly going to answer that question. But you're saying this is a result. This is not a result, this is your opinion poll. Result I've got today for you, and I want to share this as breaking news on your channel. The results in Bengal have just broken for the rural elections. Today is the results. The results have just come out. Trinamool Congress has swept Bengal, 13 districts out of 17. The CPIM haven't managed to fight back. The Congress have been decimated. So if your observation was quite correct, you said I was glowing. I'm not glowing with those opinion poll results, but we are certainly glowing today because of this sweep we've had in Bengal. Now to answer your question, most certainly, my appeal on behalf of Mamta Banerjee and the Trinamool Congress is right up direct. We appeal to all the regional parties across the board, even if they are in the UPA, in the NDA or outside it. We want the regional parties, and we don't want to call them regional satraps because satraps is a bad word, to come together. To come together after the polls and run this country not with BJP, not with Congress. So it will be, I saw your 3 options. We're talking about a 4th option. And that 4th option is a cluster of regional parties with aspirations, regional parties with national aspirations. We will run this country perhaps with the outside support of one of the 2.
The Mulayam-led option does not represent that.
Sorry?
Why do you think the Mulayam-led option does not represent that?
I haven't seen the Mulayam-led option because I was celebrating the Panchayat results. But if you're suggesting any name as a possible Prime Minister, well, there are lots of very qualified regional chief ministers, former chief ministers, and everyone across the board who can all qualify to lead this cluster of regional parties with national aspirations.
But many people say that's the problem. You see that that while the numbers may look okay and the Congress party may even back you, there are too many claimants. Coming back to you, Derek. Let's get Pawan Verma in. Your response to the national result. I know you don't look too happy what we projected in Bihar, Mr. Verma, but overall.
No, you see, Nitish Kumar has said repeatedly, Arnab, that no party will come close to having a majority of its own. So this was an era of coalitions and broadening your base for coalitions, which he has said publicly he feels the BJP has foreclosed that option. And your results seem to endorse that. Now, if that is not going to happen, it's going to be an election which is unpredictable. I agree with Derek that there are parties which can form a third front. This is too premature to talk of it right now, but it's an idea in evolution. But one thing is clear, none of the two national parties combined are not crossing 250. And we have to have a stable government that runs this country. As far as your results on Bihar are concerned, let me say to you, last time the JDU fought for 25 seats out of 40, giving 15 to the BJP and got 20. I believe that your estimations of whatever 11 seats or something are wide off the mark, but I am not going to say that I am right or you are wrong. Let time and the elections prove it.
Right. Coming back to you, Smriti, I know you want to contradict that. The question is, is anti-Congressism going to be a strong enough impulse to put a government together? And one second. Can anti-Congressism be a strong enough impulse to put a government together? And is it possible to do that, Jay Panda, if that same alliance is to be supported by the Congress party from the outside?
What was the question to me?
The question is, can anti-Congressism be a strong enough impulse to form a government at the center? Simply put, there are a lot of parties which are anti-Congress, not necessarily anti-BJP, whose anti-Congress impulse is very strong. But the problem is that you can't form a government because you're going to have to get the Congress party to back you from the outside. So what's the point in trying to form such a government?
Look, anti-Congressism or anti any one particular party cannot be the basis of any government. But you can, the surveys that you are quoting, which corroborate other surveys that have happened within the last 2 years, all show that there is an anti-Congress mood in the country. But as to what kind of a philosophy or principle will guide the next government, it may not be anti-Congressism, but it will be pro-something. And I think pro-governance is what the country is looking for. And here, I think you will agree that if you look at those states which are run by regional parties, the majority of them are outperforming the national average, whether it is on economic growth, whether it is on reduction of poverty, whether it is in terms of political acceptance and getting re-elected, beating anti-incumbency, whether it's Odisha, whether it's Bihar. So I think there are many positive grounds about the direction we want to see the country go and our own states go, and it doesn't have to rest only on anti-Congressism.
So who forms the government? Can you give me a straight answer? Who will form the government in this situation? Or would you rather not have a government and go to the elections again?
Look, I don't have a crystal ball any more than you do, but these surveys corroborate something very clearly that other surveys have been saying, that the country is turning sharply against the UPA. The BJP is gaining slightly, but not very much. It's mostly the regional parties that are gaining a lot. So does that mean that regional parties will play a big role in the coming government? Yes, I think that much is clear. But what kind of a big role? You raised the question about whether regional parties can work together. You asked that question to Derek.
One second.
Let me say that
the concept of
regional
federalism,
parties will...
we can discuss this ad nauseum, Jay Panda. I want to share one statistic, which is why I think it is more difficult to form a government this time. And Smriti, here's the point. Last time, the number of anti-BJP parties, there were 55 MPs who represented anti-BJP parties. This time, that number has gone up to 84.